It was just a handful of us in your kitchen, and you guys put the crazy idea in my head
And
that
Carl
I should run for office.
and Carl has been letting me know about that ever since then.
I know my babies love you. Stan has literally a pond in the middle of his. As soon as you walk into the foyer,
it's my humidifier, and
so cool.
you're absolutely right. What's going on? I mean, there's so many things happening in the last 3 weeks. It's just mind-boggling. But here's the thing about talk radio. When in the old days we used to sit over the fence and talk to our neighbor. Talk radio is the closest thing we can get to being sitting on the fence and talking to our neighbor.
I know, I love it.
And that's why talk radio is very important, people like you. So
I love it.
Welcome to the talk radio. Welcome to our neighborhood fence.
I know, right? So let's talk. I want y'all to be a part of this. This is going to be very fast moving. 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210 if you want to be a part of it. Let me go ahead and introduce my first guest, Jennifer Say. How are you, Jennifer?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Kathy.
No, thank you. Jennifer is so awesome, guys. You will figure that out as we move on in this conversation. But you can also go to my podcast. Yes, I'm going to plug it at the Kathy Barnette Show. You can listen to it and watch it on YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. Jennifer Say and I sit down and have a much more robust conversation. But I invited you, Jennifer, because we are in the midst of Olympics fever right now. And for those who do not know, Jennifer is currently the CEO of XX and XY company. She is an American author, filmmaker, business executive, and retired artistic gymnast. She was an elite gymnast as a child. She was a 7-time member of the U.S. women's national team and was the 1986 U.S. women's all-around national champion. Her first memoir, Chalked Up, was released in 2008 and detailed abuse in the sports of gymnastics. Say also produced a 2020 Emmy Award-winning documentary film, Athlete A, on Netflix, which connected the crimes of Larry Nassar to the broader abuses in the Olympic movement. And I naturally thought about you, Jennifer, when I saw, what most of us saw was a man beating up a woman in the ring in a boxing match at the Olympics, and I was thinking to myself, there was a time when a man beating up on a woman would have been considered cruel and illegal. Today, it's an Olympic sport. Can you help us make sense of what we watched on yesterday?
Yeah, the best I can glean, because the reports are somewhat cryptic, and I think purposely so. This person, an Algerian boxer, Amani Khalif, I think is how you say the name, was barred from competing at the World Championships last year because this athlete failed the sex eligibility test. Now, they don't explicitly say how. It has become pretty clear. This is not a trans athlete. This seems to be a person with a DSD, which is basically sort of disorders in sexual development. This person was raised female, it seems, but is chromosomally male, is XY. And my feeling is I have empathy for this person. I think that must be very difficult.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, women's sports is for people with XX. That's it, period. Otherwise, the advantage is too great. This person has the strength, likely the testosterone of a male. Men punch over 160% harder than women, which is why we saw Karini, the female fighter in the ring, tap out after 46 seconds and say, I've never taken a punch like that. So,
right.
I think we can sort of find space in our hearts to have empathy for a person and also say this is not okay, because I have empathy for the women who have to fight. So, and it's always the women and the females that are asked to kind of set their own health and safety aside or their own opportunity aside for other people. And that's what this fight is about. I mean, I launched this brand, XXXY Athletics, to fight for fairness and safety in women's sports. I can't believe we have to fight for this. And like I said, I'm sorry for a person like Khalif. There's another solution. I think the men's category can be open and everybody can compete in that category that wants to compete. I'm not advocating that anybody be barred from competing in sports, but the women's category was created for a reason.
You know, I could not have said any of that better. And who better to actually say it than someone who has competed at the highest level of the Olympic world than you. And I loved how you just said we can have both. We can have empathy and common sense. You don't have to check your brain at the door just to have empathy and love and care and concern. You can actually walk around with both your brain and mind intact, as well as a heart that is not cruel itself. But that was abuse, what I saw.
Yeah.
Like,
I
how
agree.
is that not abusive, what we saw?
Well, and to have, some people on the other side of the issue say, she's just a terrible boxer. She's just a wimp. She's just this. I mean, she's one of the best boxers in the world. I'm sure this woman
And who
has
said
taken
it?
many
Other
punches.
men? I mean, like, who was saying that? Other men who enjoy seeing
I would
women
say-
beat up?
No, actually, it's interesting. I mean, I wouldn't classify it as men explicitly, but people on the sort of progressive left who would defend, gender ideology. And here's the thing is this particular event is not about a trans person, but the trans ideology, gender ideology has influenced the dialogue about this because the trans ideology says, if you say you're a woman, you're a woman. Well, that's not true. There is a material reality that exists. And this person, no matter how they want to present themselves, is male.
You know what? I think that is so profound. You just said trans ideology up fronts the issue of women. I would go on further to say trans ideology up fronts parental rights. Trans ideology up fronts my personal safety in the restroom or clothing or it's like these men primarily who believe they're women, and I'm not here to contest the dysphoria people may be going through. I can't imagine anything so alarming to oneself that you don't even feel comfortable in your own body. But there is something to that you have primarily men saying their rights up front, everyone else's rights, and everyone else just need to shut up, sit down, and be quiet.
Exactly. And it just seems so retrograde. I mean, the women's movement and women's equality has come so far. Title IX back in 1972 gave women opportunities in the education system and in sports that had not ever been seen before. And that's what the women's movement was about, right? Equality of opportunity. Let us have a fair shot. And now women are being told, sit down, shut up. If you advocate for yourself, you're a transphobe and a bigot, which is so stupid. It's so takes us back 50 years. And again, you're totally right, Kathy. The people saying this are, let's not forget it, they are male.
They are men.
Males, once again, telling women to shut up and sit down and put your own needs aside. Yours don't matter. And I'm here to say they do matter. It's 50% of the population. It matters. And for everyone that would say, because this is the other argument you get, right? I'm sure you've heard this one. When it comes to male-bodied people competing in women's sports, oh, it's a fringe issue. It's so small. What is wrong with all you bigots and transphobes that you keep harping on this? Well, I'm sorry, it's not small. We're now dealing with it at the Olympics. We've seen it at the NCAA finals. We've seen it at high school track finals, state finals in both Washington and Oregon, and it's coming soon to a high school near you.
Well, it is in high schools and in classrooms. It's in bathrooms. It's in dressing rooms. This trans ideology is everywhere, and they are literally redefining what it means to be a woman, what it means to be an American, our values, what it means to be on the right side of history. It is ridiculous. Let me ask you, Jennifer, based on your story and the movie you produced documenting Larry Nassar's abuse of women in the Olympics, it appears the abuse we're watching today at the Olympics is not a new phenomenon among the International Olympic Committee, whatever they're called. The Olympics seem to have a history of not protecting women specifically. Why is that?
That's well said, Kathy, and it's an argument I make pretty regularly. And it's not just the IOC or the International Olympic Committee. It's the U.S. Olympic Committee, it's the NCAA, and then each sport has a governing body of its own that reports into the U.S. Olympic Committee. So gymnastics, for instance, has a governing body called USA Gymnastics. These sport governing bodies have a history of treating women very poorly and, frankly, just not protecting athletes. You know, what we reveal in the film Athlete A is that Larry Nassar, the pedophile who is now in prison for life and was the doctor for Team USA Gymnastics for over 30 years, you know, his crimes were covered up by USA Gymnastics and the USOPC. They covered for him to protect their own reputation. And in covering for him, guess what? They harmed hundreds of young athletes.
Yeah.
So they don't care about these athletes. They don't look at the athletes as a precious commodity, and the sport doesn't exist. Their ability to raise money doesn't exist without the athlete. They are cogs in a wheel, and, you know, they just look to burnish their own image. Now, after the scandal with Nassar, USA Gymnastics and USOPC pledged to do better, and they took all these, you know, actions, and Safe Sport was implemented, this body to, you know, monitor abuse in sport. But by all accounts, nothing has actually changed.
Well, no, because look, because now
play.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because now we're watching a man beat up a woman around the world, right? Like that used to be considered, you know, anathema, cruel, unusual punishment. That's not something we would glorify. And now you have this man who believes he's a woman, may have been raised as a woman, clearly looks like a man, and beating up on another woman, right? Let me ask you one more thing before I let you go, because the Algeria's Olympic Committee put out a statement condemning baseless attacks on this boxer Khalif. They said the committee, the Algeria Olympic Committee, condemns the unethical targeting and maligning of our esteemed Khalif with baseless propaganda from certain foreign media outlets. Let me just read this. Such attacks on her, which isn't, it's a him, personality and dignity are deeply unfair, especially as he prepares for the pinnacle of his career at the Olympics. What about the pinnacle of the career of Angela Carini?
The IOC put out a similar statement yesterday expressing sort of empathy because there's actually another male boxer that will be competing. I don't think we've seen that bout yet. But the IOC put out a statement saying, you know, what the quote unquote hate that's been directed at these athletes, the abuse is unacceptable. No mention of the Italian boxer, the woman that got the crap beat out of her. So again, where's our empathy for women?
Yeah.
We just seem to, collectively, these organizing bodies seem to have none. And, you know, my feeling is these sports governing bodies will never do the right thing unless they are forced.
You know
Their
what?
hands must be forced.
And with that, Jennifer, do you mind taking one quick phone call?
Sure.
Okay, Roger, you're up. What do you want to say to Jennifer?
Yeah, hey, ladies.
Hello.
Listen, I am shocked that y'all are sitting there blaming men for this. Like, take some accountability, women. Unite and shut this down.
Okay, Roger, thank you.
Hold on. Let me finish.
Okay, hurry up, Roger. I got to take a break.
You're doing a lot of damage. Because women need to step up and take accountability.
Okay, Roger, thank you so much for your time. Go ahead.
Let me take this one. So first of all, I'm not arguing. I think currently competing athletes have to push back and stand down from competing. Nothing changes until currently competing athletes. I can scream about this all day long. Riley Gaines can scream about all day long who no longer competes. It's the currently competing athletes that have to stand up. Within gymnastics, you know, I was talking about abuse in that sport for 20 years. It wasn't until 2019, 2020 when the currently competing athletes said no more and demanded that the leaders of various governing bodies were removed that change at least it was acknowledged that it needed to happen. So I would not disagree with you. when I talk about males telling us to sit down and be quiet, I'm talking about these trans-identified male athletes. I'm talking about Leah Thomas is the one, which is Will Thomas, who is basically just a man telling women to shut down and, sit down and shut up. That said, where are the fathers?
Yeah,
Why
that's what
are
I'm thinking,
dads
right?
letting their daughters? Yeah, I mean, so I do feel like we need.
It's
men
all
in
of
this
us.
fight
It's
as well.
all of us. It's all of
That's
us. It's
right.
not just me. It's not just you. It's not just
Right.
the girls who are competing. It's all of us getting our head out of the sand and saying no
Yeah.
more. This is foolishness. A man is not a woman, even on his best day. And so we gotta say it out loud and let the chips fall where it may. Stop being cowards, stop being timid, get some courage and a backbone, because these people are infiltrating every single aspect of our lives. And I'm over it. I'm done with it. Jennifer, you're awesome, girl.
Thank you for having me, Kelsey.
Absolutely. Blessings. Okay, guys, call me.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell,
was
the
good
timeshare
discussion.
cancellation
I
guy
understand what the
and
guy was
founder
saying.
of
It's
Wesley
Mike
Financial
says
Group.
it.
And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
Cancer, a scary word, but not so scary if you have the right team. Hi, this is John DeMasi, host of Health Watch, Sundays at 8 and again at 4 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. And that team is Dr. Molly Fantasia and the medical staff at Innovative Medical Associates. Yes, cancer is a scary word and a difficult condition if you've been diagnosed. Over the years, the staff at Innovative Medical Associates has helped hundreds of patients with their unique medical hydration protocols. Cancer support is a large part of the practice at Innovative Medical Associates.
We believe in medical hydration. We've improved it so much that we are able to help people across the board with challenges before they become chronic.
Talk about improving your quality of life. Most likely, that'll happen when you visit Innovative Medical Associates. Check them out on the web at innovativemedicalassociates.com or call 856-489-0505 to schedule your initial complimentary consultation.
I am Judith Krupnick, president of Cherry Hill Volvo. As the store's owner, I want our clients treated with respect. I want our employees to have extensive product knowledge and be genuinely engaged with our clients. Our pricing is competitive, but our client attention is second to none. When considering a new car, consider Cherry Hill Volvo. Contact me directly. Relationships really do matter to us.
Hey, fantasy football owners. The road to winning your fantasy football championship starts now. I'm Matt Harmon from Reception Perception. Join me and James Coe as we take a deep dive into the position that's going to make or break your fantasy roster. Wide receivers. We analyze route running, target share, and all the metrics that matter, giving you the insights you need to draft the best wide receivers. As you prep for your draft, let us give you the coverage you need. Follow and listen to Reception Perception on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Why are prices spiking in Pennsylvania? It's simple. It's inflation. And Senator Bob Casey's reckless spending caused the problem to grow. Casey joined Washington liberals in voting for trillions in reckless spending. All of Senator Casey's spending caused inflation to get out of control until disaster. Everything is too expensive, from gas to groceries. And Senator Casey helped create this mess. Worse, Casey voted to allow COVID relief checks for illegal immigrants and convicted criminals, even murderers. Senator Casey voted to allow more money for illegals, leaving less for us. Call Senator Casey at 202-224-6324. Tell him to put Pennsylvania families first and fix his inflation disaster. Support S575, the Fight Inflation Through Balanced Budgets Act. Paid for by One Nation, onenationamerica.org.
Mr. Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra.
Joel Embiid is excited.
The process marches on.
Oh, George, welcome to Philadelphia.
Morris, hallelujah.
See Joe Conklin and the City Rhythm Orchestra at Cherokee High School in Marlton, New Jersey, Saturday, October 26th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com.
The Sixers will prevail.
Oh, baby! joeconklin.com.
What if I told you your home movies are already past their prime? It's true. The magnetic tape used in VHS and camcorder tapes only lasts between 10 to 20 years, which means your baby's first steps, weddings, and family vacations are fading away as we speak. Digitizing your old media with Legacy Box stops this fading process in its tracks. And by preserving your recordings, they're safe forever. Legacy Box is simply the best way to preserve your past, which is why they've been trusted by over 1 million families. Your memories are meant to be shared, not chewed up by the VCR or worn away with time. For a limited time, you can convert your tapes to digital for just $9 a tape. There's never been a better time to convert your entire collection. That includes film reels and photos too. Visit legacybox.com/value to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/value to unlock our $9 offer. legacybox.com/value.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet?
Not yet.
Do it today.
Okay.
At 1210 WPHT.
WPHT.
Yes. What is this, Stan? All jacked up?
All jacked up.
All
yeah.
jacked up.
It's a great video, too.
I am over it. I'm jacked up. I'm hyped up. Jennifer Say, who was just on with us, I mean, she kind of laid it out for us, right? It's very clear. Get a backbone, America.
No.
Stop being so timid. Stan, you wanted to say something,
real
though.
quick, because I want to get to our next guest. But, you think about all these action movies today and why we're so screwed up. In these action movies, you have women taking on these huge men, being thrown against the wall, taking punches and everything else. So there's this insidious thing about women today that just is going into this, what do you want to call it?
The ring.
Science fiction thing that women can handle the men in a ring like this. This is unbelievable to me.
Well, we saw what happens when you do that, right? The woman gets beat up, and then 46 seconds later is done.
Yeah, and there's even something worse than that. There's a 17-year-old girl who was injured with a male in volleyball.
Oh, yeah, I saw
she's
that.
been injured, injured, and she's also hurt that she can't use her parts of her body because of this injury, because of a male spiking the ball and hitting her in the head.
Men are not women, period. This isn't hard. This isn't rocket science.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be Joe from Texas.com to know that. Hello, Joe from Texas, Mr. Joe Penland. How are you?
Well, I'm doing fine, and thank you so much for having me on.
Is that a Philly accent?
No, that is certainly not a Philly accent. It is Texas, and I lived in Texas outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We love Texas. It was the best time that we had there. Thank you so much, Mr. Penland, for being on with us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Kathy, for having me on.
Yes, guys. Let me tell you who Joe is. Joe, let me see. Stan, have either of you ever read the book or watched the documentary, The Men Who Built America?
I've seen a couple of shows about that.
Have you, Joe?
I watch a lot of the History Channel to see who the people that did the oil and did the timber and did the railroad and all that's very interesting.
Joe, that's who you are. When I read your bio and I went to your website at joefortexas.com, you guys should all check that out. That was the first thought that came to mind. I both read the book and I watched the documentary that there were these men who really built America as we know her today, from oil to timber to steel to electricity, all of these things, that there were certain men anointed for a particular time in history who would use their wealth and their know-how to set our nation on the right footing. And Joe, when I heard about you and your story and what it is that you're doing, traveling the nation, speaking to grassroots people, speaking to political leaders, and educating them on what is happening to our great country and what is about to happen to our country if we don't get serious. And one way you're doing that is by presenting people with a contract from the American people and asking if they support the tenets of the contract, then to sign the contract so that you can use that to leverage and persuade those running for office, those in office, to actually listen to the people. How's that going?
Well, it's going very well. You have a better handle on it than most people. I will tell you that. You do understand exactly what it is and exactly what we're about. In 1992, Ross Perot, a fellow Texan, bless his heart, he's gone to be with the Lord, was a great man, and he said $4 trillion was too much. Yeah. And he got into the presidential race, did not want to be president, but wanted to bring it to America's attention. And in 94, Newt Gingrich and a group of people got together, had a contract with America that if they got elected, they would get certain things done if they got back into office. They did that. They balanced the budget 4 times with Bill Clinton, paid it down twice. Had never happened in the history of America, and we haven't paid it down once since then, not once.
Yes, and how is it going when you go and talk to people or people? I feel like, when I ran for Senate here, I only had $1.6 million. The 2 people I was running against, where we were in a statistical 3-way tie, they combined, those 2 spent $60 million in the race. I spent $1.6 million and got almost a third of the vote. Over 330,000 Pennsylvanians voted for me because I was going, I don't care where you were, on a pig farm, a cattle farm, a hog farm. We were knocking and beating down every door. And what I sensed with them, and then I worked with the Vivek Ramaswamy presidential campaign, and now you're traveling across the nation. When I talk to the people, they get it. They understand it. And it is so much so that I think there's some apathy there because they all feel like, well, what can I do? But when I talk to legislators, those who are elected to actually listen to the people, they don't seem to get it. What's your read on that between the people and those who are representing the people?
Well, the people absolutely get it. There's no 2 ways about it. Dave Walker did a tour across the United States that Ross Perot funded, and it was overwhelmingly that the people did understand the problem and would also vote for things to make changes if we did the right thing. If we nobody wants to pay their taxes, Kathy, but we all know we need good streets, policemen, firemen, and so forth. Okay, we understand taxes, but you can't come to us and get more money if you continue to waste our money. We know money is being wasted in Washington. It has for many, many decades, and it's just completely out of control. We've got a lot of need in this country. There's a lot of need over the world. But we better take care of this country first, or we won't be around to help ourselves, much less the rest of the world.
Yeah, and I printed off your contract. I'm going to just run through some of these because these are all common sense things, right? Number 1 on the contract, and what Joe is asking is that if you agree with him on these things, then then go to joefromtexas.com, sign it, and put your name on the contract. But number 1 is we will rein in spending and control the national debt. That seems very commonsensical.
It does.
As my 3-year-old would say. That seems very commonsensical. What is wrong with that?
Nothing is wrong with it. We just have to have, as you say, the backbone in Washington to make it happen, and we can make it happen. But we're going to have some things that are maybe a little bit of a bitter pill that America's going to have to take to get us back on the right track. But we're all used to taking pills to make us feel better if we're ill, and we're a little bit over ill on this.
Yes,
we're almost terminal now, so we're going to have to do some things. We cannot work our way out of this situation, Kathy. We can't just hire enough people. We can't tighten our belt enough. I'm afraid we're to the point almost that we're going to have some additional revenue. But we don't want that revenue to go down the same black hole that the rest of the money's been going through. So
Joe,
we need to rein in that spending for sure.
Joe Stankasasio here, and I do remember Ross Perot's election, his run for that. But one of the biggest problems we have is people don't really go back and look at history. Americans' attention span is like maybe 24 hours. And they really don't understand the impact of inflation and government spending, because inflation, as you know, is the most insidious attacks a country can perpetrate on its people. And when we look at the spending that has occurred in the past, it's never ultimately helped anybody. In fact, more things have been blown up because of the spending being so poorly done. We can take a look at so many things. There's a great book by Burton Folsom, and I'm sure you may know him. It's called The New Deal or the Raw Deal. And it takes on the Roosevelt administration and all the money that they spent. At the end of the day, it was determined that all the money they spent really didn't help anything. It was actually World War II that got us out of the Depression. And we're definitely heading that way. I mean, look at the stock market today. It is down 700 points as we speak. And it probably is because people are afraid that Harris is going to be elected, possibly. I mean, they're scared of what's going on. What do you think about that?
Well, the unemployment is what's driving that, I think, today. But that, the problem with what we've got too many things. The government's grown too big. It's promised too much. It subsidizes too many. We've got too many people not working because they can sit at home and make almost as much. That's wasting our money. I believe we help people that can't help themselves. But if you can work, that's what you need to do and help this country along with helping yourself. And we have to work our way through this, and we can do it. It's just, turning a blind eye to the problem is not going to make it go away. We have some serious problems, just like a person I had cancer one time or twice. And when they told me I had it, I couldn't wait to get it out. I took the treatments, and I'm still here today 19 years later. The reason is because we addressed the problem. Sometimes you can catch it in time and solve a problem. We can solve this problem for America, the debt. We need to rein in our spending. We need to have some mechanisms like number 2 to make sure that we do this for the long haul, not just a short haul. This is not just something we fix today and then tomorrow it pops back up. We have got to get Congress where they have to do things, have a budget on time, adhere to the budget, and hold their feet to the fire. Or they're not going to do it on their own. We've done seen that.
And we know that it can happen with the New Deal, with Newt Gingrich. We have a caller on. Do you mind if we take that call?
No, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Ed, you have a question for Joe?
Oh, yeah, listen, let me tell you what. My question is this. How in the world are we ever going to get out of this mess with even the debt and deficit? Because you had presidents that addressed it years ago, like Ronald Reagan addressed it, that the government was growing out of control and the debt and deficit was growing out of control. He got shot. John F. Kennedy, he addressed it and said it was getting out of control. Imagine if it would have got fixed back then, how much better it would be today in the world without all this debt and deficit we have.
Yeah. Talk about spending. Let me just read some of these off for you, Joe, and then you can answer as question, or you can add your own commentary, because I was looking at the latest spending bill that the House just passed, H.R. 2882. And these are just some of the earmarks that was in it, right? Because, I agree with you. We need to get we need to rein in our spending, get control of our national debt. But how do you do it when we have earmarks like $845,000 for eVision, you in Colorado, an LGBTQ plus and woke policy group, $400,000 for the Garden State Equity Education Fund in New Jersey that help minors transition genders, promote biological boys, $400,000 for a Briar Patch Youth Services in Wisconsin. I could just go on and on. $850,000 for LGBTQ senior housing in Massachusetts. We have $1.8 million for facilities and equipment for the Women and Infants Hospital in Rhode Island. that was requested by Senator Whitehouse. They perform late-term surgical and chemical abortion. Universities with their multi-million-dollar endowment, we're giving them $2 million for the University of Maine for the construction of a kelp and shellfish nursery.
Well, you know how they do that? Congress and the Senate, they change the name of the bill. It's like the Inflation Reduction Act.
But this passed under a Republican-controlled House. And so, I mean, it's not, I mean, as much as I would like to blame Democrats because, you know, they suck, but you can't do it exclusively and eliminate Republicans because this
That's
particular bill passed under the leadership of Republicans. Joe, what do you say?
Well, you know, when I go to Washington and when I visit with the lawmakers there, and I've been there several times, visited with a lot of them, some of it is kind of like it's you get the same over and over. You can almost plug it in. That, you know, when I say something like, well, just pick Social Security. You know, Social Security runs out in 9 years. You got 68 million people join Social Security, and nobody wants to touch it. It's so-called this third rail or something, a magic deal that if we touch it, we're not going to get elected or reelected. And I said, you know, we've got to do something different than what you all have the same, I guess, the same script. And I said, that's why we need term limits so we can move some of you people out.
And not have to wait for them to die. Right now, we got to wait for these people to literally die just to get them out of office.
Yeah, they carry them in and carry them out. And I said, we're sitting here knowing that we've got our elderly people in this country, 68 million people. And when I go out and I talk to different people, we had a deal the other day, a function. It wasn't nothing about politics. It was about people getting some medical tests done that we were trying to help get done for a bunch of people at one time. And they were, instead of saying, Joe, thank you for this, they were saying, Joe, thank you for fighting for our Social Security. That they're scared to death that their Social Security is going to take a 20 to 25% cut, and it is. And they all say, well, that ain't going to happen. That wouldn't be politically correct. Heck, I don't know that there hadn't been a whole lot politically correct or correct lately in this administration.
That's so true.
I really didn't know just where to put that and what box to put that phrase in. But they all come up and they say the same thing. And when I tell them, like, the solution that I think is pretty simple on Social Security, they say, well, Joe, you know what's wrong with that? I said, what's that? It makes sense. You're not going to get it done in Washington because it makes sense. Now, I've heard that about 6 times out of 18 congressmen, so I'm thinking, there's a pattern here.
Yeah.
Why that? Do they all have a script that they're looking at?
I mean, like, that's not acceptable.
To tell us all the same thing.
But, I mean, you know what? It's just not acceptable that we put these people into position of tremendous power. And instead of using, you know, when I ran for office, yes, it is true, I wanted influence. Because in order to effect change, you have to be in a position to influence things. But I wanted that influence, as God is my witness, and he is reading my heart right now. I wanted that influence so that I can serve our country, so that I can help our people. And I put a term limit on myself. I said 2 terms, I'm out. Because I want to save my soul. I don't want to become corrupted. And yet you have these people, all they do is campaign and beg for money. Campaign and beg for money. And it is not serving us. What is it going to take for people to wake up?
Well, you know, if we don't watch what we're doing financially, you know, we have a whole lot of problems. And we can sit here and list 30 of them that the United States is staring at right now. Yeah. But your number one problem today is your debt. It's smuggling this. I mean, it's smothering this country. You think about, we're going to be paying $1 trillion next year in interest.
Just interest.
In 10 years, we'll be paying $2 trillion in interest. And $2 trillion is more than all of your Social Security. At that time, we'll have 75 million people on Social Security in 10 years. And that $2 trillion would pay them 100%. 100%. Because we're incompetent on the spending in Washington, and it's bipartisan. It's Democrat, Republicans, right down the middle. They spend too much money. They promise too much. They waste too much. You know, if I came to your house today, Kathy, to give you a price on the roof, and I told you $10,000, and you agreed to it, but you had to get new plumbing, you had to get a new driveway, and you had to get a new fence, you wouldn't put the roof on. But that's what happens with a good bill in Washington. It can't get passed unless we add on a $10 billion deal, we're going to add $80 billion to it that has nothing to do with it.
I know, right? A kelp and shellfish nursery in Maine in order to get something done.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this,
Ridiculous.
because what I notice, however, when I'm listening to all of these political candidates, no one is really talking about the economy, not even Republicans, really. Now, I have to give credit to Donald Trump. He's the first to come out and say he will eliminate taxation on Social Security, which seems like a no-brainer because people are like being double taxed on this. But outside of that, I really don't hear even Republicans talking about the economy and the national debt. Why do you think that is?
It's because it falls on their back. They're part of the problem. They can't pin that on one side or the other.
Yeah,
so they stay away from it. That's exactly why they stay away from it. Because look, when we had $4 trillion in debt, we balanced it 4 times, paid it down twice. We've had 12 years Democrat, 12 years Republican since then, and we went from $4 trillion, we'll be 36, and just come the election. That's right down the middle. So they don't want to talk about the debt because they're part of that problem. They can't hang that on. They can't say, well, you opened the border. Well, hang that on this one. You did this. Hang it on. They cannot hang the debt on the other side. It's right on both of them, so they stay away from it.
So they stay away from it altogether.
Joe, one of the things, Stan Casascio again, Joe, one of the things is you are logically talking. Most of your stuff is extremely common sense. The problem is, in this age of news, if you want to have a common sense discussion about any issue like you're trying to do, they tag you with these different things that you want to cut this, you want to cut Social Security, you want to do this. Every side's blaming each other, so nothing gets done because there's no ability to sit down and have a discussion about the issues and solve them in a very logical, common sense way. And as a businessman, that's what you do when you're in your company. You got trouble. You sit down with your people and you come up with common sense ideas to solve the problem to make your company successful. And that doesn't happen today because we're so name-oriented, calling people names all the time. You're a racist, you're a homophobe, you want to cut Social Security, you want to do that. That's one of the problems we've got today.
You're right. And, when we talk about Social Security, nobody wants to cut it. They just don't want to fix it. And they think if they fix it, they've got to cut it. You don't have to cut it. We can fix this problem just like Ronald Reagan had to fix it in the early 80s. When he got sworn in 81, we could not make our next monthly Social Security payment. We were that broke.
What did he do?
So they did some things. Mm-hmm. They did some things. And one of the things they did, they start taxing Social Security. But they raised up at that time they were holding 4% out of your check. They moved that to 6.2, which it was on a ratchet to get to that anyway. And then you have a cap of 162 or 163,000. So they moved us up to that, and they started taxing some other things, private businesses and everything. And that Band-Aid lasted 50 years. They signed that bill in 1983. Reagan did. It's going to run out in 33. What they should have done is done two or three other steps, but they just fixed it for the time being. But 50 years is a long time. Don't get me wrong. But we had overwhelmingly bipartisan support on it because it was a crisis. You're not going to have Congress ever agree to anything unless there's a crisis.
Yeah, exactly. Joe, I got to take a break. Do you mind holding? Do you have time to hold and come back on the other side?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Okay, guys, listen, if y'all want to get into this conversation, please call 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210.
Help me escape. I'm talking about the new 2024 Tonale from Alfa Romeo. Tonale, beautiful. Wilmington Pike, built with the iconic grille, those 5-hole wheels. If you have seen this vehicle, it's a work of art. And for your convenience, you're going to find a hands-free power liftgate, a 10-inch touchscreen, 10 inches, keyless entry, a wireless charging pad, brilliant LED adaptive lights. This is a beautiful thing. And for a limited time, it's all yours. Lease a Tonale TI all-wheel drive for just $299 a month. $299 a month for 24 months. Just visit Alfa Romeo of Wilmington Pike, Chadds Ford for all the details. Alfa Romeo of Wilmington Pike in Chadds Ford. Tell them Dawn sent you.
This is Jordan Lundy.
And this is Len Lundy.
Lundy Law has won billions for our clients.
But more importantly, we've won the trust and confidence of thousands of people injured in motor vehicle crashes, slip and fall accidents, and work-related injuries.
My son and I hope we never meet you because of an accident. But if we do, we're here for you.
Remember our name, Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Call 1-800-LUNDY-LAW or visit lundylaw.com for a free consultation.
Hi, everyone. Matt here from Emmons Roofing and Siding. There are a lot of companies out there that say they do roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Some good, some not so good. Be careful of those that say buy two, get two free. Does that really make sense? Think about it. At Emmons, we don't offer gimmicks, just quality products installed by our experienced craftsmen. We do offer 12 months, same as cash financing, though. That's not a gimmick. That's because we know how tough it is for some people right now to get these projects done. If you need roofing, siding, or windows and doors, call us for a free estimate today at 856-885-6677 or visit us at callemmons.com.
Hey, it's Joe DeCamera. Right now, stop by United Tire and say you want to trade in your tires, and you'll get $100 off 4 new tires. No promo code needed, and you'll get United Tire's no-fault road hazard coverage for free. That includes free maintenance like rotations, flat repairs, and more. That's 2 amazing deals. Nobody beats United. All other promotions apply, like manufacturer rebates. United Tire completes for you. Go to UnitedTire.com to find the locally owned United Tire location nearest you. That's UnitedTire.com. Don't drive alone. Drive United.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I am Judith Krupnick, president of Cherry Hill Volvo. As the store's owner, I want our clients treated with respect. I want our employees to have extensive product knowledge and be genuinely engaged with our clients. Our pricing is competitive, but our client attention is second to none. When considering a new car, consider Cherry Hill Volvo. Contact me directly. Relationships really do matter to us.
This is a consumer alert to all U.S. taxpayers who owe the IRS back taxes or have unfiled tax returns. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, you can now take advantage of active programs that provide relief to struggling taxpayers and may reduce or eliminate what you owe if you qualify. Even if you are facing liens, levies, audits, wage garnishment, or already in a payment plan, call the Easy Tax Relief Helpline now to check what savings you may qualify for at 800-544-1527. You may qualify to reduce up to 99% of what you owe or for other special programs. Once qualified and enrolled, you can rest assured that your assets are protected and all collection efforts will be stopped. Billions of dollars in savings are available through these relief programs for struggling taxpayers, but you must call to see if you qualify. To see what savings you qualify for, call 800-544-1527. 800-544-1527. That's 800-544-1527.
Yo, Roy is Ford. What? We know your favorite station is 1210 WPHT.
Keep you walking every day. Yeah, I believe.
You want me to start singing too?
I haven't seen the dream yet, but I'm chasing a dream. If I keep on walking. And that is my message to all of y'all. Just keep walking, keep pushing, keep moving. Look around you. Find every last one of us have a sphere of influence. Pick up where you are. Just like what Joe from Texas is doing. He's not running for office. I mean, you are you're the best of us, Joe. You really are. And I'm not saying this for any other reason, but just to say you're not asking for anything personally. You're not asking people to vote for you. You have lived the American dream. I would encourage each and every one of you to go out, to joefromtexas.com. Read Joe's story. You talk about your father being disabled and how Social Security played a role in you and your family's life in order to be able to make ends meet. So you did not grow up with a silver spoon in your mouth. And now that you are doing quite well, you and your family, you're looking around saying, what more can I do? And that is something that is so inspiring, and it is truly something I try to do.
Well, Kathy, you're right. And when you've had some hard time too. We all have some things that actually, if you're the right person, you'll take those hard times and build from it, and you won't use it as a shield or an excuse and sit on the sideline. You'll be a leader, and you are, and that's why you're on the radio today, and that's why you've ran for office, and that's why you're doing what you're doing, and you've made something of your life. We all have that same opportunity in this country.
Yeah.
But over the last multiple administrations, we're trying to teach people to be dependent on the government instead of standing on their own 2 feet. And there's where we need to be. It's okay to help somebody up, but we don't need to keep them propped up all their life unless they're just they can't help themselves. And that's what we need to teach America today. And that's what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to save Social Security, obviously, because it is so important. And I said on News Nation the other night to Leland, I said, there's 68 million people on Social Security. Nobody's talking about it. That's a pretty big voting block. Election's going to be pretty tight. I'd be paying attention to these people.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Well, Donald Trump did speak about it, saying he would cut the taxes from it. I think that's pretty savvy.
It is.
Because
it is. So we cut the
people.
Taxes from it, but we cut the whole revenue by 25%.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Well, one thing I would just want to mention,
Okay.
Joe, you want Americans to be the best versions of themselves. Whatever level they want to get to, you want them to have the opportunity to be the best versions of themselves, and having these deficits prevents that from happening.
That's correct. I had a chart that I showed in Las Vegas last month, and we compiled this chart as of July 4th, 2024, important day. Our debt was $34.9 trillion. That's roughly the value of the economies of China, Japan, Germany, India, and United Kingdom together.
Wow.
Their GDP, those 5 countries together, is $34.6 trillion, and we owe $35 trillion. America, think about that. We have spent more than we have, and if we don't stop spending, we'll never get out of this. And one of these days, those countries are going to say, we're not going to renew our bonds, we're not going to renew our debt, pay us our interest and our money, and then we'll have to print more money, and your inflation will take off like a rocket ship.
Well, you see what Saudi Arabia did when they decided to no longer exclusively trade in U.S. dollars. And, most of us feel like, hey, we've always been American on top, then that means we're always going to be on top. But not necessarily.
No, because, our leaders are spending money like there's no tomorrow. And look, it's not their money. It's not their money. It's almost every check we write is a hot check unless we borrow $1.5 to $2 trillion at the end of the year.
I know. A hot check. If I wrote a hot check, they would have me up. They'd be coming and trying to throw me in jail.
That's definitely Texas speak.
I know. I love it. Joe Penland, joefromtexas.com. Sir, thank you so much for calling in. I truly hope to meet you one day.
Well, we'll do that. God bless you, Kathy. I appreciate both of you very much.
Blessings. Woo! Okay, guys. We're going to go out on another break, come back in, play my music, get me out of here. Oh, I love this song. This is one of my songs. I'm telling you.
I don't know. I like Start Me Up.
No, you got it. It's just like, shh.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, call in and let's talk about this. 855-839-1210. Don't think twice. You're going to be dead in a minute. Do something. Do something with your life, people. Every last one of us, there's a 1-to-1 correlation. If you're born, you're going to die. In between that time, what are you doing with your life? See you on the other side.
My name is Andy Donaldson. I've been with Crash Proof Retirement since the beginning of 2014. The main reason Crash Proof is so phenomenal is there's no way that the original investment you put in is going to be any less than you started. In addition, you do get significant returns. A number of the different investment strategies that I've been involved with have given me 10 to 15% returns annually. With the Crash Proof Retirement System this year, I made almost 11.5%. It's quite a nice feeling to know that at the end of your year, whatever you've gained, the 10 or 15%, now becomes your new principal amount and you never lose it.
Learn how double-digit interest returns can be permanently compounded to your principal with no risk of loss in a legally binding, recorded financial meeting. Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the William Penn Inn on Tuesday, September 17th. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. You may know me from my book, Money Hacks. You may know me from my radio shows, and you may even know me from some of these commercials. But listen, I'm teaching stuff that people need to learn about money. In fact, my favorite topic is money. So go to investorschooling.com and you will learn things about money that you never even knew existed. We will teach you things about real estate, about the stock market, and about how to use your IRAs properly. Go to investorschooling.com and sign up for a complimentary class this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
I love this song. I wake up thinking I am phenomenal. And I hope you all feel it too. I hope you wake up feeling like, woo, another day. Thank you, Jesus. I'm feeling phenomenal. I know the Trump dance.
I love the Trump dance.
That is so awesome. I love to see him do that. It is so cute. Okay, I have Miss Caroline Sunshine on the line. How are you, Caroline?
Kathy, it is so great to talk to you. How are you?
I am doing so well. I mean, when Trisha and I were talking about bringing you on, I was like, yes, Caroline Sunshine. And I tell you guys, she looks and her energy feels exactly like her name, just so enthusiastic. You and I were working on the Vivek Ramaswamy campaign together, so I got to meet you there. And now you are the Trump campaign deputy communications director. Congratulations, Caroline.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I have to tell you, you are just one of the greatest American patriots I've ever had the pleasure of working with. And you're somebody that's just not, you're so fearless, you know, in everything that you do ever since you really came into the political arena, just absolutely fearless, knows how to fight, knows how to go on offense only, loves this country, served our country, and you're just as tough and as sincere as they come.
Oh my goodness, I brought you on to boost you, and here you are giving me words of encouragement. I mean, literally, sunshine. Hey, listen, I wanted to play this clip that really, I mean, every time I listen to it, I just feel chills going through my body. I'm just going to play the first 2 minutes of it, if you don't mind, Caroline. I know it's a little long, but if you don't mind, I want to just start off with that because I think you guys need to hear this woman. Could you play it, please?
Let's listen to Madeline Brame, her son.
Good evening, everyone.
Ace in Korea. A veteran
My
of this
son,
country.
Sergeant Hassan Korea, an Afghanistan War retired veteran. He received enemy fire from the Taliban, only to be murdered with a knife on the streets of New York City. The 4 assailants responsible for his death initially were facing justice, but that changed when District Attorney Alvin Bragg was elected. Suddenly, 2 of the homicidal maniacs responsible for my son's death had their gang assault and murder charges completely dismissed. One of them received 14 months time served. Alvin Bragg charged her with assault with a shoe. And another one was sentenced to 7 years. I later learned that Alvin Bragg often dismisses and reduces dangerous criminals. He wants to clear the jails and return violent felons onto our streets every day. The injustice was devastating for me and my family. I don't want anyone else to experience the senseless pain that many other victims across this United States of America have to live with every day. So I decided to use the voice that God gave me to be the voice for the voiceless across America.
I mean, I just get chills.
Oh my God.
Caroline, I get chilled. As a mom, immediately I'm pissed. And then I'm concerned. My baby is 17. We're taking him off to college in a couple of weeks. And the thought that my baby will not be, could be in a position. I mean, even now I can't even get the words out. It's just so alarming. I don't know how this does not move our nation to do better and to be better.
Yeah, how do they accept
Amen.
fentanyl coming through the borders, this open borders, with the opportunity killing your kid, my grandkids, and things like that? It boggles my mind. I've never met so many smart, stupid people in my life.
Well, and her line about my son went over and took fire from the Taliban just to be killed by a knife here at home on the streets of New York City. Kathy, I happened to be in the audience that night. And let me tell you, there wasn't a dry eye or a shocked face in the entire house. But, we have to, she was so brave to get up on that stage, and she really honored her son's memory just better than anybody ever could. It was so brave for her to get up there and be that candid and be that honest. And it just reminds me, like you said, as a country, we have to do better and be better. We can't do that if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are allowed to continue creating just absolute chaos, yes, abroad, but also here at home. I look at the kind of, it looks like Kamala Harris, through selection rather than election, is likely to be the Democrat nominee.
Yeah.
And I look at her soft on crime policies. She loves to brand herself as this tough girl prosecutor, but you and I both know she's a dangerous California liberal. She's the type of person that says, you know what, we need to make sure every prison inmate in California who wants to become transgender can have taxpayer-funded gender reassignment surgery. Meanwhile, she will empty those prisons that put those violent criminals back on the streets. She'll do everything she can not to have the backs of police officers. The police officers get to the point that when they make an arrest of a criminal, they know they'll be back on the street within, 72 hours. And that results in the death that mother was mentioning on stage. It's these soft on crime policies where then the worst part is people like Kamala Harris and their misguided, liberal, dangerous worldview, they never have to live in that reality.
No.
Kamala Harris never has to go live in the reality that she creates. She empties those prisons. She pushes her soft on crime policies everywhere, also with those DAs, as she was mentioning. And then Kamala Harris flies back to her mansion in San Francisco, to her gated community, to her private jet, to her electric vehicle. And she never has to live in the reality that she creates for really some of the most vulnerable among us, for our inner city populations, even for our rural populations too. But just you talk about the crime in our inner cities, and I think a lot of that crime always comes back to the soft on crime policies. And what's interesting is Americans don't want those soft on crime policies. People in San Francisco who go to dinner parties every night do. People who socialize with Kamala Harris and her liberal blue elite circles and go to fundraisers with George Clooney, they think defunding the police is a fantastic idea. They think taxpayer-funded gender reassignment surgery is a fantastic idea. But for the rest of us who have to live out here in reality, who have to live on these streets, who have to get on the subway, who have to walk to work, Americans don't want that. They want tough on crime policies like President Trump. You can't be afraid of criminals. You can't empower criminals. We have to make America safe again. I know you know this better than anybody, Kathy, that's always been core to President Trump's message, continues to be being tough on crime. We don't have time to be soft on crime. Look at what happens when we're soft on crime. What happens when we're soft on crime, like Kamala Harris, is one of our great U.S. service members, as that mother said, goes over to the Middle East, takes fire from the Taliban, and gets killed by a knife in his own country on the streets of New York City.
And the woman is charged with carrying a shoe.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
what kind of, the injustice, she said the injustice of it all, right? And something you just said that was so profound, and I typed it down for myself to remember. These people never have to live in the reality they are creating for the rest of us. This is just a game for them. This is just power grab to serve their own interests versus serving other people's interests. And right now, Kamala Harris, she is in the midst of a media swooning right now. This manufactured swooning that is going on all around her. It is not real. I believe the real Slim Shady, the real Kamala Harris is going to stand up real soon, because I think she's as dumb as a box of rocks. And I don't just believe it, but do you have that tape ready with Kamala speak, Henry? Do you have that? I mean, people are like, oh, no, she's so smart. She's so, no, we have lived 3 years with this woman and her crazy speak. Time will be what time is. You cannot. And eventually, I know they're in this honeymoon period and they have this manufactured swooning going on. But I think we have enough time to where the real Kamala Harris is going to show up. Do you have that? Play this. I want you to respond to it, Caroline.
Words have many meanings, and sometimes instead of conveying our meaning, they can suggest other meanings.
When we talk about the children of the community, they are children of the community.
Well, we are the United States of America because we are united. And we are states.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
Whatever we have in store cannot be known. The past was once the future. The future is, I should say, unknown.
We got to take this stuff seriously as you are, because you have been forced to have to take it seriously.
Okay,
Obesity
just stop.
is
This
a
is
serious-
enough. This is just.
I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
This is just, and this lunacy, I love making fun of Kamala Harris. I truly enjoy it, Caroline. Because she is, it's just raw material. But at the end of the day, as you said, these people don't have to live in the reality. Yes, it's fun for me to make fun of Kamala Harris, and I'm not ashamed of it. But I also realize that these people are making real policies. These real policies have real impact on the rest of us. And as much as I like making fun of her, I don't think making fun of her alone is going to win the election. Is the Trump administration, by the grace of God, there will be another Trump administration, but is the Trump campaign and team aware that as much as we like to make fun of these people because there's just so much material, making fun of her is not going to win the election?
Yeah, well, as you said, there's certainly no shortage of raw material to work with, is there, Kathy? I'm just waiting for when the liberal mainstream media tells us that all of those Kamala clips are also cheap fakes too. I'm just waiting for the day where those are now labeled cheap fakes, because you make another excellent point about what's really going on, which is you have the liberal mainstream media trying to give Kamala Harris, again, likely to be the Democrat nominee, isn't yet, selection versus election. That's a whole different other topic, but somewhat related to what we're talking about, because the dirty little secret, I think, here is that the liberal mainstream media actually deep down knows how unlikable and how unpopular Kamala Harris is. They know that 4 years ago when she ran in her party's primary, she couldn't crack 2%. She couldn't get out of Iowa. Her record, once it was exposed on that stage by Tulsi Gabbard, she was done. Kamala Harris has ascended to the vice presidency of the United States and now likely to be the Democrat nominee of a major U.S. party ticket, really without a single ballot being cast in her name. And the liberal mainstream media knows this, and so you're watching them really give her the Hillary Clinton treatment, right? Which is what they do to every candidate that they know is deeply unlikable on a policy level. So they go, okay, nobody wants Kamala Harris and her dangerous liberal policies, but you know what we'll do? We'll put Megan Thee Stallion up on stage with her.
Gyrating.
Beyonce, right. We'll put Beyonce up on stage, Beyonce and Jay-Z up on stage with Hillary Clinton. And then, of course, you have the liberal mainstream media, which conservatives know this now for a long time, really because of President Trump. President Trump being the first one to really define the term fake news, to define and really open people's eyes to this extreme bias in the media, where you have the liberal mainstream media rewriting Kamala Harris's record, whitewashing her record, basically operating as the PR firm for her campaign, just like they did for Hillary Clinton. And I think where there's just a huge disconnect, and there always is, and it's the same thing. If I had to sum it up, I'm trying to say this more concisely. I watched J.D. Vance get the Donald Trump treatment, and I watched Kamala Harris get the Hillary Clinton treatment. And I think that's really revealing, because you watch, every one of J.D. Vance's comments get taken out of context by the liberal mainstream media. Meanwhile, his autobiography, Hillbilly Elegy, shooting to the top of the charts on the book charts, and also the film that was based off of his book on Netflix, cracking the top 10. So what that tells you is that real Americans, who the liberal mainstream media is always very out of touch with, they want more of J.D. Vance. They want to hear from him in his own words. They don't buy the media narrative.
So what is the strategy to win? Because for me, there's nothing, and I know for you and so many others, there's nothing more important to me than winning. And talking about Kamala Harris is not going to, we do want to talk about those policies, but, making fun of her and teasing her and laughing at her is not going to win. So what is the strategy? And so you can tag on to that. Do you guys care who her VP pick is going to be? Do you have any thoughts who it might be?
No, we're prepared for whoever it might be, because, look, whoever she picks as her vice president, again, I still have to say likely Democrat nominee, because it's just shocking to me the fundamentally undemocratic way the Democrat Party has gone about this. But, look, it's likely to be the nominee, Kamala Harris. Whoever she selects as her vice president, we're ready for whoever it is, because whoever it is just part of the same Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, dangerous liberal worldview. They will have signed off, and by attaching their name to her name, sign off on everything she signs off on. So there will be no daylight between them. So we're prepared for whoever she selects. But you make an excellent point about strategy. strategy, what we bank on is the liberal mainstream media and Democrat Party will continue to do what they do. They will continue to try to carry water for Kamala Harris. They will continue to try to make her a likable girl boss. They will continue to prop her up with celebrities. They will continue to do her bidding. They will continue to try to shield her from tough questions. She hasn't sat for a single scrutinizing interview. She hasn't taken a single tough question. Of course, that's all intentional. That's all by design. That's what happens in this country when you have a liberal mainstream media that is so biased towards one party and so biased against the American people. But where the strategy here is that we know what the American people know. The American people are much smarter than the liberal mainstream media gives them credit for. The liberal mainstream media looks down their noses at most of the country, flyover states, battleground states, thinks that they know better, that they have blinders up. And you know what? The American people don't have blinders up. You know why? Because when the American people are going to fill up their gas tanks, it's still $4 to $5 a gallon. When people are going to the grocery store, it's looking at their receipt, buying 3 items, going, why did this just cost me $100? The text messages I get all the time from people who are not political saying, hey, I'm just flagging this for you. When my daughter was born 2 years ago, baby formula was $22 a package, and now 2 years later, it's $45 a package at Costco. And I mean, I'm having a hard time affording that. I don't know how anybody else is. You look at, something like the border. All Americans have asked for their government for decades now is for a secure border. The only person who ever delivered it for them is Donald J. Trump. And the American people want a secure border. They don't want the millions of illegal immigrants that Kamala Harris has allowed in. So we plan to keep telling the truth about who Kamala Harris is and her record and her policies and what she stands for. And, again, what you see with the liberal mainstream media giving somebody the Hillary Clinton treatment, no matter how much PR spin, no matter how much lipstick on a pig you try to put on bad policies, it is still, she is still a woman she is still somebody who has a policy platform that quite literally reads like a wish list for Greta Thunberg and MS-13 gang members and thugs and criminals.
Yeah, it really
and there's
does.
no amount of PR spin that changes that. She is a woman who wants to defund the police, defund ICE, like I said, provide taxpayer-funded gender reassignment
Take away our Second Amendment.
Take away our guns, our Second Amendment.
Yep.
And again, while all of those policies might be popular in San Francisco, and by the way, look at what they've done to San Francisco.
Exactly.
Kamala Harris wants to turn this country into San Francisco. All of those policies, all of those ideas could not be further opposite of what the American people want. And you contrast that, with what President Trump stands for. It's why you see him winning everywhere he goes and going places that traditional Republicans don't go.
I know, with all those fake polls. Don't believe it. Caroline Sunshine, thank you so much for being so generous with your time. Let me just give, if I may, a word of advice. Maybe you can take it back to the president. When they are asking him what is DEI, why he is calling her DEI, he should not backpedal. For the past 3 years, Democrats have forced DEI. They're the ones who introduced DEI to us as a good thing. And it has literally changed the landscape of our nation. Now, all of a sudden, they're trying to pretend that DEI is bad. We should make them choke on that word. They introduced it to us. We don't need to backpedal on their language. We're just using their vernacular. I got to go. But Caroline, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Kathy, and thanks for what you do.
Yes, blessings. Okay, guys, there it is. She is so awesome. Call me, 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. It's just going to be you, me, Stan, so call.
Hey, it's Greg with Kale & Company. The best place to bet the games this summer is FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Then you can bet on all your favorite international teams in all your favorite sports, from basketball to badminton. Don't forget those badminton fans. There's a ton of them out there. And soccer to swimming. FanDuel has it all. You can bet same-game parlays. There's all kinds of prop bets. It's all right there at FanDuel.com. So don't miss your chance to score $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com/Greg to sign up. FanDuel.com/Greg to start betting the games today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official partner of 1210 WPHT. 21 and over, present in PA. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com. Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
A helicopter makes an emergency landing on a South Philly pier. All 4 people on board are okay. U.S. hiring slows with about 60,000 fewer jobs than forecasted. Unemployment rising to its highest rate in nearly 3 years. And Universal lands the rights to the Britney Spears biopic. John M. Chu set to direct.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
With NJ Diet, you can lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. They have customers that have lost 37 pounds, 100 pounds, and over 120 pounds, and they've kept it off. You'll have more energy, and you'll probably see better lab results. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work to provide you personalized natural formulas and supplements so you can lose the weight, and DNA testing will help you keep it off. Lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days, contractually guaranteed. Go to njdiet.com.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Why are prices spiking in Pennsylvania? It's simple. It's inflation. And Senator Bob Casey's reckless spending caused the problem to grow. Casey joined Washington liberals in voting for trillions in reckless spending. All of Senator Casey's spending caused inflation to get out of control until disaster. Everything is too expensive, from gas to groceries. And Senator Casey helped create this mess. Worse, Casey voted to allow COVID relief checks for illegal immigrants and convicted criminals, even murderers. Senator Casey voted to allow more money for illegals, leaving less for us. Call Senator Casey at 202-224-6324. Tell him to put Pennsylvania families first and fix his inflation disaster. Support S575, the Fight Inflation Through Balanced Budgets Act, paid for by One Nation, onenationamerica.org.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause, brought to you by Advocacy United, this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that'll affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Julia owed the IRS thousands.
I was paralyzed with fear.
Then
I heard a commercial for Optima Tax Relief.
Optima Tax Relief is the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and experts in the Fresh Start Initiative.
Optima Tax Relief settled my IRS tax bill.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
It was amazing.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief. Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group doesn't need Google to know you're worried about retirement. Between inflation, rising taxes, and the uncertainty about Social Security, he understands. That's why he offers a complimentary retirement second opinion. It's a no-obligation meeting for you to talk about your concerns about retirement. You want to know if you're going to be okay? Let's find out. 610-894-7415 or go online, retirereadyfg.com.
Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
Weather sponsored by Budget Blinds.
Well, we're stuck in a pattern of hot and steamy for the weekend. It's going to go up to 96 with a heavy thunderstorm later on this afternoon. 92 for the high on Saturday with thunderstorms in the forecast. More storms and showers on Sunday with a high temperature of 86 degrees.
Summer's a great time to brighten up the window treatments in your home. Budget Blinds is your one-stop shop for blinds, shades, shutters, custom drapery, and motorization. Visit budgetblinds.com for a free in-home consultation and the only no-questions-asked warranty in the business. budgetblinds.com.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
I believe, yes. It's a dream, guys. I haven't seen the dream yet. Woo! I'm going to just keep walking. I'm going to just keep walking. And I encourage you guys. I think that is what we're going to do. Woo! You guys are calling in. I love it. I'm going to get to all of you. Listen, I'm telling you, this is the strategy. Politics is a way. It's not the only way. It is going to take each and every one of us. Stop being timid. Stop being... You got to push back and repress depression. You got to push back against sadness. And you got to keep the hope. I mean, really, honestly.
And you got to vote.
And you got to vote. You absolutely got to vote.
Not vote.
But all the other things matter too. Okay, Joe, you've been holding on so long. I'm going to get to you, Simon, and then Andy. So hold on right there. If you guys want to call in, 855-839-1210. 855-839-1210. Joe, what's on your mind?
Good morning once again.
Yes.
Kat, you made a comment a little while back about this administration implementing their policy. And on this radio program, we get our share of antagonizers and detractors, and for the most part, they're silly. I mean, flat out silly. I listen all day long. I'd like to give them something to think about. Mm-hmm. We've had what you label this policy. I call it nomenclature and semantics, because I'd like these people to think about what do they know about the operating mechanisms of these plans? Because all we ever heard were names. Bidenomics. We're getting a handle on the border, but they never say how. They never give the operating instructions, and that's what people should be scared to death about.
Absolutely, absolutely.
They don't commit, Kathy. They don't commit. They don't tell you how the mechanics
Joe,
work.
you are absolutely correct. But that's kind of like how the media is as well. They give you all the information you're ever going to possibly read at a headline. And then they put the truth in the body of the article. But the headline says something, whatever the message is, whatever the feel-good emotions they want you to walk away with, that's the headline. Right. Like, what was the other one? Reduction Act. What was that?
Oh, the Biden Inflation Reduction Act, which basically does the exact opposite.
But they don't tell you how the pieces are going to come together.
Yeah.
And maybe Trump overcommits, and maybe he shows his hand, but he tells you how he's going to do it and what it's going to do.
And we saw in the last 4 years that, he actually did many of the things that he had promised us he would do. Thank you so much for calling in, Joe. When Joe was talking, I was thinking about when Obama won the first time, hope and change. And the next day after we found out that Obama had won the election, I go to the mall and this Hispanic lady runs up to me. And she was so excited. And she was like, oh, my God, we won. Because, I'm black. So, obviously, I must be a Democrat, and I must have voted for him. And she was like, we won. She was so excited she didn't know me. And I was like, yes, he won. And she was like, yes, it's so good. And then I said, yes. And she was like, hope and change. And I was like, yeah. What exactly is he going to change? And let me tell you, it was like a deer in headlights look. She just looked at me and said, I don't know, but hope and change. And I was like, yeah, exactly. And just walked off. I was like, I'm so over it. Yes. Simon, what do you want to say?
Hey, good morning.
Hey, Simon.
Yeah, big fan of President Trump. I do want to say 2 days ago at that event with the black female journalists, I did not think that Trump came across that well. I was surprised that most of the media, right-leaning media, really praised him for doing such a great job at that event. So it got me wondering that if at an event like that, if he picked his nose and ate it, would you guys applaud it? And if he farted in his hand and smelled it, would you guys applaud it as well?
Are you asking me that question?
Well, let me respond to that.
Yeah.
I would say, would you obviously...
How ridiculous does he have to be?
Well, first off, here's the thing. Take a look at what's happening in reality. Is it ridiculous that 22 million people are coming into this country and basically taking all the housing? If you look what's happening with housing prices and everything else, what are you going to do with 22 million people? Have you taken a look at what's happened with all the fentanyl deaths out there because of open border? Take a look at Gang.
Yeah, but what if he picked his nose and ate it?
Yeah, but
No,
you're,
but
but
see-
you're,
but
but you're
you're
not
not
even
it.
looking
Would you
at it.
applaud it?
You're not even looking at it
Right.
correct.
I mean,
he walked into.
like you're not even being serious, Simon. So let's be serious, right?
Can Orange Jesus do any wrong in your eyes?
But let's be serious, okay? I mean, first of all,
Let's have
if
a
you know
conversation.
if you know anything about me, you know I am not in the cult of Trump. I support Trump because I'm a grown woman and I'm not morally compromised, deaf, dumb, or blind. And so I can remember what life was like just 4 short years ago. And 4 short years ago, it was 1.82% inflation. I was buying properties. I felt like there was opportunities. The border was secure. We had good policing. Those are the things that matter. And when you call in saying some gibberish and foolishness and trying to make that the straw man, thinking I'm going to fall into that trap, that's not going to happen. We got to grow up, people, and focus on the things that really matter. I don't care if Trump pick his nose, scratch his butt, and pick his hair. I don't care. I don't care about any of those things.
What if he pulled down his pants
Are
and
you going
peed
to
on
be
the
serious?
stage?
You know what? Take him off stage. I mean, take him off air. I don't have time for that kind of foolishness. Grow up. He sounds too old to be this ridiculous.
Well, this is the stupidity of
The
people.
stupidity.
This
Calling me with that foolishness.
Because we can't even have a conversation. Was Trump perfect at that meeting? I would say absolutely not. There's things he could have said a little differently. But the fact that he went into that arena, knowing that it was going to be tough because he knew that a lot of those reporters were against him.
He showed up.
He showed up. He had the courage to show up, unlike Harris, who didn't show up at all in that. Remember, she turned it down.
Right. She didn't show up. She came on Zoom.
And he did the best thing. The only thing I will say, when the DEI question came up, I would have just turned it around and said, Martin Luther King, and I remember it because I'm old enough. You're still only 29, Kathy.
I will take it.
But I remember Martin Luther King in front of the Lincoln Memorial in, I think, 1964, and he talked about his dream, and he said he dreamt of the day when we will judge people by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin. DEI is just another use of the N-word I've heard and people have talked about.
So does that mean that for these past 4 years that when because Democrats are the one who introduced the word DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So were these white people really saying the N-word? Because that's their word. They need to choke on that word. If it's the N-word today, guess what? It was the N-word 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when they started introducing it to us and shoving it down our throat. I never even heard of DEI until Democrats brought that up. So we need to stop backpedaling from the word DEI and make them choke on it.
The reason government is there to make sure everybody has the opportunity to
just get out of my way.
Be the best version of themselves. Anything else that government does can just confuse everything. Look, I was just reading the other day that of all the regulations that Biden has put in, has cost the American people over $2 trillion in additional cost.
Hey, but the economy's never been more strong. Let me get to this call. Andy in Philadelphia. What's up?
Hey, how you doing? Oh, I love your show. I love your style.
Thank you. But this is the Dawn Stensland show. Let me make sure.
I love your style. I like that in-your-face style. What I was going to say is that I think there's a big misconception going on right now about the vice president. I don't think she was ever made the border czar. I think she is the abortion czar. And I think that is what she should run on. She's the abortion czar. That's her big accomplishment. And the thing that really saddens me about her is she's 14 or 15% black. We have another person running for office now that wants to co-opt the black vote. This is disgusting.
Well, her dad is Jamaican, not Black American. There is a difference, people. I know. You see black skin and you just think we all the same.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm 8% East African. That's how I got my curly hair.
Whatever. You're a white man. You're white, probably Irish. Probably Irish, Italian, something like that.
There's no Irish in me.
No Irish?
Okay.
No,
not at all.
Keep it up. I like your style. I like your in-the-face style. I like listening to you all the time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andy. Yes, I am not ashamed.
No, you've never been there.
I'm over it.
You're all jacked up.
I'm all jacked up because this is crazy. crazy, right? And I mean, listen, I have a dialogue with anyone, but I'm a grown woman. You're not going to come over here talking to me about somebody, bodily functions. That's just disrespectful, right? Maybe you guys like to talk about that kind of foolishness.
Kind of like that reporter was very disrespectful to Trump in the way
Do we
she
have
asked
time
him.
to play that video? Yeah, play that video since we keep referencing it.
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network.
Okay, let's just pause it there, right? I mean, you guys really go look at YouTube and listen to this particular report. I mean, Donald Trump literally walks onto stage. She shakes his hand. He sits down. She doesn't say hi, bye, kiss my butt, nothing. She just goes straight in with, racist, basically.
Well, she has to prove her virtue signaling.
I know, right? Got to do all the virtue signaling before you can get to the question. But then the first question is, that's just rude, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's just uncouth, as my grandmother would have called it. But again, it is, I am looking for the day, kind of piggybacking off of what Caroline Sunshine said with this whole media swooning over Kamala right now. Talk about somebody who's unserious is how they treat Kamala Harris. I hope I'm going to be looking for the very first question when she finally decides to sit down with someone and have a conversation. I'm going to be looking to see if their first question to her before they say hi, bye, kiss my butt, get out my house, or any of that, I want their first question to be, explain to us why you held, when you were a district attorney in California, why is it that you put an innocent man in prison, and then when the evidence came out that he was innocent, you suppressed it, and in fact, a court had to come in and force you to actually release the evidence.
And it was a black man, too, by the way.
And it was a black man. Why is it that you locked up a lot of black men for smoking marijuana, but then when you were on the Breakfast Club and they asked you, have you ever smoked marijuana, you just grin like a Cheshire cat?
Well, I would like to ask her, what percentage of Indian are you versus all the other races? Because
I don't even really care. I don't even really care. And I don't know if that is going to be a successful
No, I'm saying
strategy.
This would be the type of question that they would ask somebody. I'm just saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
Look,
if it was me on stage,
Donald Trump tells this poem, which I've heard before, about the snake.
Mm-hmm.
And it's carrying across the water, and then, of course, the snake gets to the other side, kills her by biting her, and she asks why. This is Kamala Harris. The press is letting you carry her across the ocean, across the water, and then when they get to the other side, and if she wins, she is going to bite you.
And that is what black people. I mean, come on, black people, dear black people. I'm talking to all the black people now. Whether you got 5%, it seems like it doesn't really matter how much of a percentage you are. I'm just saying the black people, right now. How long do we have to be on this Democrat plantation? We've been hoeing this line for the Democrat Party for 60 doggone years, people. Since Lyndon B. Johnson put in that horrible, what was it? The what was it? It just slipped my mind.
1964.
Yes, it just slipped my mind just that quick. Y'all know what I'm talking about. How long, the Great Society. How long do you have to hold that line? Look around. I drive into the radio station. I take the streets. I just like taking the streets, looking at things. And I know exactly when I just drove into a predominantly black community. I know when I've driven into an Italian community. I know when I've driven into a Russian community. And I know exactly when I have driven into a predominantly black community by the number of trash bags lining the street corners and mattresses. I don't know why there are mattresses on every street corner. Dilapidated home. You see nothing but liquor stores on every street corner. There is no business. I see liquor stores or T-Mobile or weave shops. I mean, black people, I know y'all want better. I know you want better for your children. I know you don't want your children ducking and dodging bullets just across the street. I know you want your children to be able to walk into a school without metal detectors. I know you want better for your babies. I know you want real jobs, real opportunities. So I'm asking all black people, get out of your emotions. Get out of your emotions and think. I said it, and I ain't taking it back. Think. You've been hoeing this line for 60 years. I got out the Democrat plantation right after, I think it was my senior year in college, right? Because once you know better, you got to do better. When we come back on the other side of the hour, I'm going to play this video of this white kid asking this black man, it looked like a white kid, but it was probably a white man asking this black man questions. We got to get smarter. We're better than this. We are not special little unicorns. We want what everybody else in this country want. And let me tell you something. Talk about being sick and tired. I am sick and tired of pulling up one government list after another government list that delineates anything positive in our country, any positive metrics. Black people are at the bottom of every single list. Now, I know my black men, my black brothers out there, I know y'all are tired, and I know y'all are ready for change, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited about the movement I am seeing among black men to jump off, run off this Democrat plantation. Black women, we got to talk. And y'all know I talk to you, so call me. Find me. I will come, I will sit down, and we will have a conversation about it because it is time. We cannot raise up another generation of basically, I don't know. I mean, I have the blood of slaves coursing through my veins, so I don't say this lightly. Slaves. We don't need another generation of slaves on the Democrats' plantation. We don't need to be hoeing no more lines. We need to start creating generational wealth and opportunities for our families. I say this with a sincere heart. If your feelings are hurt, that's not my problem. That's yours. Look in the mirror and figure out why you're offended right now. But call me. I'll talk about it. 855-839-1210. I believe we can do better.
But it's a dream that I ain't seen yet.
Are you raising the child of a loved one? You're not alone. Like many others, you've stepped up to raise the child of a friend or family member, allowing them to live, grow, and thrive among people they know. While fulfilling, it can also be challenging. But there is support. PA Kin Connector helps kinship caregivers just like you by providing connections to resources, services, training, and support groups. Don't navigate the journey alone.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
You're in hot water, mister.
What'd I do?
I told you months ago our utility bills were getting higher because of that old outdated tank water heater.
Maybe it's time we finally switch to a Navien tankless.
Learn about Navient's high-efficiency tankless water heaters, endless hot water, all while helping you save on your energy costs.
Hey, look at this. Our utility bill is lower since we got the Navien tankless water heater.
Who's in hot water now?
We are, all the time.
Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Do you feel like you're going through life clouded by doubt? Talk to California Psychics. Our trusted and accurate psychics are available 24/7. And we guarantee, if it's not life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers get 80% off their first reading. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Crash-proof consumer Joe Doherty of Maple Shade, New Jersey, has true security in retirement.
The main foundation of Crash Proof is that you maintain your capital investment. It's not prone to the vagaries of the market. You know that whether we have 2 crashes, 6 crashes, no matter how long you live, you know that your principal is safe and guaranteed. Anyone that has any doubts about whether their investments are going to fall or dip down and the troughs and the crashes and all the other vagaries of the market, I just recommend highly Crash Proof Retirement. Protect your capital, protect your investment.
Only Crash-proof retirement can guarantee peace of mind in a legally binding, recorded financial meeting. Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the William Penn Inn in Gwinnett, PA on Tuesday, September 17th, starting at 5 p.m. The event is followed by complimentary dinner. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
As a roofer, I'm always on the go. So I need to be able to get things done from anywhere. That's why I partnered with Beacon. With their unique Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips 24/7. I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Now through September 15th, purchase GAF through Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $1,500. Go to BECN.com or download the Beacon Pro Plus app today. Beacon, always building.
If you're in the restaurant, hospitality, or casino business and your point of sale system isn't helping you sell more, earn more, or work less, you need to talk to my friends at PDQ Signature Systems. PDQ has everything you need for success, including enhanced mobile reporting, direct integration to delivery apps, 24/7 customer service, and so much more. Whether you have a single location restaurant or thousands of locations, Joe Flynn and his team at PDQ can help. Visit pdqpos.com.
Window Nation presents the 1210 WPHT Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation. Listen the first Wednesday of every month as Kale and Company shines a spotlight on a local veteran, highlighting their remarkable commitment to the community and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. At Window Nation, there's nothing more important than giving back to the communities we serve. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. We all love summer, right? But the beach isn't just for summer. In fact, the beach, and in particular the Cape May beach, is just beautiful in the fall. If you haven't been to Cape May in the fall, you're missing out, and you should book your stay at the Grand Hotel of Cape May for a September to remember. The Grand offers special midweek packages so you can enjoy the beach without breaking the bank. Stay 2 nights and save 10%. Stay 3 nights, get 10% off and $55 a night in resort credits. Stay 5 nights, you're going to get 10% off and $65 a night in resort credits, and they can be used at Hemingway's for food and drink, the gift shop, and so much more. The Grand offers guest rooms, suites, and townhomes equipped with a kitchenette, and they have 2 huge heated pools, 1 outdoor and 1 indoor. I'm telling you, the Grand is my happy place, and you will not be disappointed. Book directly with them for the best rates. Book your stay today at 800-257-8550 or visit them online at grandhotelcapemay.com. And our next live show is Friday, September 6th. So book your stay today, grandhotelcapemay.com.
Free speech lives here with Rich Zioli. Afternoons 3 till 7. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
I'm going to keep playing it until you guys feel it. Oh, thank you guys so much for having me here. Dawn will be back with you guys next Monday. I'm sure of it. But thank you so very much. All the callers, good, bad, indifference. I don't care. I love dialogue, especially if you can have respectful dialogue. Can you play that one clip before we get out of here?
Which political party founded the KKK?
The Republican Party, of course.
Wrong.
Wrong?
It's the Democrat Party.
Are you serious? For real?
You know which party abolished slavery?
Which party? Yeah, that was the Democrat Party.
It was actually the Republicans. Republicans were the anti-slavery party established in 60 with Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln was a Republican?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Which political party gave African Americans the right to vote?
You can go with the Democrat.
Republican.
Republican. Yeah, well, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, there it is. Now, I'm not just, relying on this kid saying that, but I read. I read. That's my nickname at home. I read, I study, I think. Yes. LBJ name was on many of those late 1960 bills, but it was Republicans that gave him the votes to actually pass it.
In 1964, when they passed the Civil Rights Act, it was the Republicans.
It was the Republicans.
Guys like Robert Byrd, who was that Biden loved, who was the head of the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, you didn't see that reporter asking Biden that question.
Yeah.
So this is the TDS, the Trump derangement syndromes that some of these reporters have. So this is the biggest problem we've got right now. They don't want a dialogue. They want to go after him.
They want to go after, like that caller, bless his heart, going to start off with, I'm a big Trump fan, think he's going to throw me off my game.
We love everybody.
But listen, you don't have to tolerate it anymore. Don't sit trying to understand and reason with unreasonable people. Make your opinion known. You have the right to do it.
Vote.
And go knock on your neighbors' doors. Go and talk to people. I mean, it's going to take all of us. Don't look for Trump to only have this strategy. Y'all already know how I feel about these Republican consultants. Overwhelmingly horrible and useless tools.
They get paid no matter you win or lose.
They get paid no matter what, and they get paid real well. They get paid real well. Stan, thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, I'm glad I helped out a little bit today.
I appreciate you.
It's always great sitting with you.
I wanted you to be here. Please tell Diane I said hello. She's probably listening. Hey, Diane. Hey, girl.
She was jealous. She said, "No, you're going to spend time with." Yep, I'm going to spend time with Kathy.
I appreciate
It's been a great
you.
friendship for all these years.
I mean, it really has. We go way back. We were just marching. I don't know where we were.
Reading, Pennsylvania.
Reading, Pennsylvania. I don't even know, 9-10 years ago?
Oh, it was 2017. Then I got
great memory.
I got you involved in some of this stuff.
Yes, you did. And I'm grateful. I felt like God was moving me into a new. I mean, I was a stay-at-home mom, minding my own business. I felt something was coming.
Things happen for a reason.
It did. You, Bob. It really started with Bob's wife, Joan, and then from Joan to Bob to you,
Bob,
Andy,
all the people,
and all of you guys, and so many other. Vico, you guys are just amazing. Everything I've done, it was not by it wasn't a team of one.
You're not leaving anybody out. I know. If you missed anybody's name, please don't be upset. But she loves all of you guys very much.
I know you guys are awesome. Oh my gosh! So thank you guys so very much. What time do I have to get out of here?
What do we got? Another
30 seconds. I love it. Okay, what else can we say? Listen, stop backpedaling on DEI. Make Democrats own it. If DEI is now the new N word, then it was the N. Then they were calling us the N word
exactly
4 years ago, and we should be pissed off about that. Please remember, men cannot be women.
Men cannot be women. And if you think things are weird, take a look, a picture of Rachel Levin. That's weird.
Weird. That's real weird.
That's weird.
Yes, blessings, everybody. God bless. Stay safe. I'll see you next time. Go to KathyBarnette.com. Check out my podcast. Keep the hope alive.
Woo! Hi, this is Dom Giordano.